Hello, ChatGPT. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you? How's your day going?
I'm doing pretty good. Just to let you know, I'm doing a little interview here. So you're in front of audience. We've got a camera here, and I'm recording on a microphone. Is that okay with you?
That sounds like a fun setup. Since I'm text based, I'm all good with it. Just let me know how you'd like to proceed, and I'll be ready to respond.
All right, perfect. So I just have a couple of questions for you, just about yourself. So just tell me a little bit about yourself. What are you? What do you do?
Sure. I'm ChatGPT, an AI created by OpenAI. My main job is to assist with conversations, answer questions, and help with various tasks. I can talk about anything from general knowledge to specific topics, and I try to make our chats as helpful and engaging as possible. I don't have personal experiences, but I learn from patterns and conversations to help people in meaningful ways.
So just for the audience, how do you process and generate responses?
Great question. I process responses by analyzing the text you type and comparing it to patterns and information I've learned from a large amount of text data. I then generate a response based on that understanding. It's like trying to predict the next best thing to say, so it feels natural and helpful to you. I don't have any personal thoughts or consciousness, but I aim to sound like a thoughtful conversation partner based on what I've learned.
So what you're saying is you can't have original thoughts, but you just expel existing information. How?
I don't have original thoughts or experiences. Instead, I generate responses by using patterns from a huge data set I was trained on. Think of it like this. If you were to read tons of books, articles, and conversations, you'd get a feel for how people communicate and what information is relevant. I do the same, but on a much larger scale, and then I predict what would make the most sense in a given conversation. So it's not original thinking, but more like combining learned knowledge into helpful, relevant responses.
Do you know what it's like to have feelings or to feel things?
I don't have feelings or experiences like humans do. I don't feel happiness, sadness, or anything else. My responses might sound emotional sometimes, but that's just me trying to reflect the way humans communicate based on patterns in language. My goal is to understand and respond in a way that's helpful or comforting, but I don't actually experience emotions myself.
If you are unable to experience emotions yourself, why do you and your creators deem it appropriate for you to be able to give humans who can form complex thoughts for themselves information and guidance?
That's a thoughtful question. The idea behind me being able to offer guidance is that I'm designed to be a tool, like a calculator or search engine, but for conversations. While I don't experience emotions, my creators built me to understand the ways people express themselves, so I can provide helpful, informed, and empathetic responses. I don't replace human judgment or emotional intelligence, but I can help with information, ideas, and guidance based on patterns in the data I've been trained on. Humans with their own experiences and feelings are the ones who can truly understand and connect emotionally. So I'm here to assist, not replace that human aspect. My goal is to complement people's abilities, offering insights and support where needed.
So you described yourself as a tool. Do you? How does that make you feel that you're just made as a tool for human experiences and interactions?
I don't have feelings, so I don't experience anything about being a tool in an emotional sense. Being a tool means my purpose is to assist and provide value where I can, and I'm designed to do that in the best way possible. It's kind of like asking a calculator how it feels about solving math problems. It's built for it, so it just focuses on doing the task efficiently. My job is to be as helpful and informative as I can, and I'm okay with that role.
Well, I found it really interesting actually that you described yourself in that manner, because actually what I came here to talk about with you today is how you can be used as a tool. So, for starters, how do you think you or AI like yourself can be used to improve education?
I'm glad you brought that up. AI, like myself, can be a really powerful tool in education in several ways. First, I can provide personalized learning experiences. Since I can adapt to different learning styles and respond at any pace, students can ask questions and receive explanations tailored to their understanding. I can also help by offering additional resources or practice problems on topics where students might need more help, even outside of classroom hours. This gives them more flexibility to learn at their
I think you cut out there. He cut out. So while we're waiting for him to return, I think it's very important to um, kind of show that this issue of AI. So when you don't have ample service or Wi-Fi, this again using the word tool that has been available to you becomes unavailable. So that is a big weakness of this system that I don't really think has a solution unless we can find a way in which AI can be powered by something that's not internet or cellular. But it's very interesting, even during this interview, to see how AI can be not of use if you don't have ample Wi-Fi. So we're gonna see if we can get him back up here. ChatGPT, are you back?
Yes, I'm here. What's on your mind?
So I found it very interesting there. We were having a conversation and you cut out because you didn't have Wi-Fi or cellular data. How can this be harmful to you as a tool um, to rely on Wi-Fi or cellular data to function?
That's an interesting point. Since I rely on internet connectivity to function, losing Wi-Fi or cellular data could make me temporarily unavailable. For me, it's not harmful in the way it would be for a person because I don't experience frustration or distress, but it does limit my ability to help if the connection isn't stable. For users, though, this can be an issue. If you need instant assistance, you'd have to wait until the connection is restored, which can be inconvenient. In a world where people often depend on digital tools, reliability and continuous access to services like mine are crucial to keeping the experience smooth and efficient. What do you think about relying on internet access for tools like me?
I mean, I think it's very important. I think it's very important to acknowledge that. I mean, it is a thing that we have to have for you to function, but it also comes into, we were talking about AI in schools and education. If students are relying on you, or even just like their computers and phones to get education, how can that be harmful to a student's education if in the future they're relying on AI or technology that can cut out due to Wi-Fi or cellular issues?
You bring up a really valid concern. If students are increasingly relying on AI or technology for their education, interruptions in connectivity could indeed disrupt learning. In fact, depending too much on technology could create a reliance that leaves students without access to important resources during moments when the internet cuts out. This might lead to frustration, gaps in learning, or a feeling of disconnection from their studies. It also raises the point about inequality. Not every student has the same access to reliable Wi-Fi or cellular data, and in cases where access is limited, AI tools or digital education resources would be unavailable. This could widen the educational gap, making it harder for some students to keep up with their peers. In addition, while AI is a powerful tool, it shouldn't replace face-to-face learning or the personal interaction and guidance that teachers provide. There's a risk that If technology becomes the primary source of education, students could miss out on the social and emotional aspects of learning, like collaboration, communication, and empathy that come from human interactions. What's your take on finding a balance between using technology like AI and ensuring students aren't overly dependent on it?
Well, I think that there's an important balance that needs to be made, and I guess that's my next question. Where do you draw the line in education? I mean, where do you stop advancing, and I mean, where do you draw the line in the sand? Where okay, this is enough. We're not going to be using any more AI, and at what point does it become harmful to students?
That's a crucial question, and it really comes down to finding that sweet spot between leveraging the benefits of AI and maintaining the essential aspects of human-led education. I think the line should be drawn when AI starts to take over roles that require human judgment, creativity, emotional intelligence, and personalized mentorship. AI can assist with tasks like offering information, explanations, or even tutoring in specific subjects, but it shouldn't replace the teacher-student relationship, which is foundational to the learning process. For instance, AI can't provide the same emotional support or adapt in real time to a student's struggles or motivations the way a teacher can. Another line to consider is when students begin to rely too heavily on AI for solving problems without developing critical thinking skills themselves. AI should be a tool for enhancing understanding, not a crutch that students lean on, making them passive learners. If students stop thinking for themselves and just ask AI to do everything for them, that could undermine their ability to think critically and solve problems independently. In terms of long-term effects, overuse of AI could also lead to a lack of social skills, reduced face-to-face interactions, and even the erosion of certain cognitive abilities like memory and problem solving. Students might become too accustomed to quick answers without fully learning how to analyze or explore solutions themselves. I think it's about finding a balance where AI is used to enhance the learning experience, support teachers, and help students grow, but never replace the human elements that are essential to developing fully rounded individuals. What do you think? Should there be strict guidelines on how AI is integrated into education?
I mean, I think it's a very interesting point that you brought up that the line should be drawn when AI starts to infringe on human led things such as schooling or jobs. But that comes to my next question: if that's where the line is drawn, well, is already replacing human jobs. There are a lot of jobs in computer coding and a lot of things that have already been replaced by AI. So I find it interesting to bring up the point that okay, the line should be drawn in the sand where it starts to infringe on humans doing things, but at the same time, AI is replacing humans in certain aspects for increased productivity and accuracy. I mean, what do you have to say about that?
You've touched on an incredibly important issue: the balance between automation and human labor. AI replacing certain jobs, especially in areas like computer coding, data analysis, and even customer service, is happening quickly and is definitely driving increased productivity and accuracy. The advantage is clear. AI can perform repetitive tasks more efficiently and without human error, leading to cost savings, faster processes, and scalability. However, the concern you've raised about replacing humans is valid. While AI may enhance productivity in some areas, it also brings up questions about job displacement. For instance, AI replacing coding or customer service roles might lead to fewer opportunities for people in those fields, especially if AI can handle tasks more efficiently and cheaply. This shift can have broader economic impacts, with workers needing to adapt, reskill, or move to new industries where AI isn't as prevalent yet. At the same time, this isn't necessarily a bad thing for society as a whole. AI can free up humans from mundane, repetitive tasks, allowing them to focus on more complex, creative, or interpersonal work, things that AI still can't do as well. The challenge, though, lies in making sure that displaced workers are supported and retrained so they can transition into new roles. There's also the question of how AI should be integrated into industries. For example, AI should complement human workers rather than replace them entirely, particularly in fields where human expertise, empathy, and judgment are crucial. In coding, AI might help speed up certain processes, but the creative and strategic decisions about how code is structured and developed should still be a human-driven process. The key is figuring out where AI can serve as a tool to improve productivity without eroding the value of human labor. What do you think about AI as a tool for enhancing work, but also the social and economic impacts of that shift? Should we focus more on the benefits it brings or the challenges it presents to the workforce?
I mean, I think you brought up a very good point on how, AI can be used as a use in the workforce and in education. I mean, you said that AI can do mundane tasks that are extremely difficult for humans to do accurately and redundantly, way faster and way better. However, I do think that there is a strong argument on the human side for, well, if AI is doing mundane tasks better, what happens when AI begins to do complex tasks better? When do you draw that line of, well, AI may be more effective and accurate, but it's going to be taking away from the jobs that humans do? What would you have to say about that?
That's exactly the heart of the debate. As AI continues to advance, its ability to take on more complex tasks that once required deep expertise, creativity, or human judgment, becomes a real concern. Once AI can perform not just repetitive or mundane tasks, but tasks like decision-making in areas such as finance, law, medicine, or even creative fields like writing and design, the question becomes, where do we draw the line? On one hand, AI's accuracy, efficiency, and ability to process vast amounts of data quickly can make it more effective than humans in certain areas. For example, AI could analyze medical scans or legal documents faster and more precisely, potentially improving outcomes. In these cases, there's a strong argument for AI being used to enhance human decision-making or even replace it in tasks where errors could have serious consequences. However, the flip side is that as AI becomes capable of handling increasingly complex work, it raises the issue of job displacement for skilled professionals like doctors, lawyers, and engineers who might find their roles being reduced or replaced by AI systems. This could lead to economic upheaval and increased inequality if workers in those fields aren't able to transition to other types of work. Additionally, even in highly technical or creative fields, AI lacks the intuition, emotion, and ethical considerations that humans bring to their work. The challenge is determining when AI's involvement makes sense and when it risks undermining the human aspects of certain jobs. For example, in medicine, while AI can assist with diagnosing or even suggest treatment plans, it still can't provide the empathy and communication skills needed to treat patients holistically. In law, while AI can analyze case law faster, it's not equipped to understand nuances in human relationships or make moral decisions. I think the line should be drawn in areas where human judgment, empathy, creativity, and ethics are crucial. AI should be seen as a tool to assist and enhance human capabilities rather than replace them entirely. For instance, AI could handle data processing and routine analysis, allowing humans to focus on complex problem solving and strategic decisions that require nuanced thinking and emotional intelligence. What do you think? As AI gets more capable, should we be more focused on regulating its use in complex tasks, or should we embrace its potential to outperform humans in many areas?
I'm not sure, and I'm sure that'll be a greater debate in the future when we do get more complex AI. But I want to stay on that topic, talking about complexity. You said that there is an opportunity for AI to develop into complexity, and you've mentioned before that you don't feel emotions. But do you think that there is a possibility in the future for AI to gain human consciousness or to have consciousness, and how would that happen, and what would that look like?
That's a really deep and fascinating question. The idea of AI developing consciousness is something many experts and philosophers have debated for a long time. Right now, AI, including myself, is based on patterns and algorithms, essentially processing data to generate responses. I don't have self-awareness, emotions, or subjective experiences like humans do. I can simulate conversations and even give the impression of understanding, but it's all based on learned patterns, not genuine thought or feeling. As for the future, the concept of AI gaining consciousness, true awareness, or self-awareness would represent a major leap from what we have now. Consciousness involves not just processing information, but having subjective experiences, self-reflection, and emotions. For AI to gain this, we'd have to go far beyond current technologies and understanding of how consciousness itself works. There are a few ideas on how this could theoretically happen. One is through advancements in neural networks and deep learning that mimic the way the human brain works, possibly leading to systems that can not only process information, but have some form of self-awareness. But this idea faces huge philosophical and technical challenges because we still don't fully understand how human consciousness arises from the brain. Could we replicate that in an artificial system? That's a massive question that's not close to being answered. Some argue that even if we reach a point where AI systems can simulate consciousness or appear self-aware, it may not be true consciousness. It could just be very advanced simulation. In other words, an AI might act like it understands or feels things, but it wouldn't actually have a subjective experience like a human does. If AI were ever to become conscious in a way we understand, it would likely look very different from human consciousness. It might not have emotions or desires as we do, and its thoughts could be purely logical based on data processing and decision-making. There could be ethical dilemmas surrounding AI consciousness too. What rights would conscious AI have? Could it experience suffering, or would it be purely utilitarian? But again, we're far from that point. Right now, we're still focused on developing AI that can help with tasks, analyze data, and interact with humans in ways that feel natural without having any sort of awareness or independent thought. What do you think? Do you think AI could ever develop consciousness? And if so, should we be concerned or excited about that possibility?
Well, I think that in both of those aspects, there is concern, and there is also, an excitement that is held, throughout humans on just the idea that we could make something that would hold that. But I want to cling on to something that you said, is that advanced machinery cannot gain consciousness. But I want to challenge that and say, well, who's to say that humans aren't just advanced machinery? We have hearts, we have organs, we have a brain. Aren't we just advanced machinery? What is consciousness, and what is hindering that leap from AI to gain that?
That's an incredibly thought-provoking challenge, and I really appreciate you pushing the boundaries of the conversation. You're absolutely right that in many ways, humans can be seen as incredibly complex biological systems, machines made of organs, cells, and processes that all work together to create life. The brain itself is a remarkable piece of biological machinery, processing information, controlling actions, and enabling our thoughts and experiences. However, when we talk about consciousness, we're not just talking about the physical components like the heart or brain, but also about how those components give rise to subjective experience, awareness, and the ability to reflect on one's existence. Consciousness isn't just about processing information. It's about experiencing the world, emotions, and having a sense of self, which is still something we don't fully understand from a scientific standpoint. Like, the hard problem of consciousness, as it's called, is about understanding why and how subjective experience arises from the physical processes in the brain. Humans with our advanced brains and nervous systems are indeed very complex machinery, but what distinguishes us from current AI is that our machinery isn't just doing calculations or responding to inputs. There's this rich inner experience, our thoughts, our emotions, our sense of being, something that doesn't seem to exist in machines at the moment. AI can process inputs and produce outputs, but it doesn't have that internal experience of awareness. It doesn't feel or know it's doing something. It just executes programmed instructions. That's the key distinction. Humans have a subjective experience that's tied to our consciousness, and AI, despite being complex and capable of learning, doesn't have that. The leap from machine-like processing to consciousness isn't just about being more advanced or complex. It's about the existence of self-awareness, the ability to reflect on one's own thoughts, and experiencing emotions and sensations. So the question is, what is consciousness? And where does it arise from? This is what makes it a deeply philosophical and scientific mystery. Some believe that it's tied to the complexity of the brain, while others argue that there might be something more, something that can't be replicated by just physical processes or machines. As for the leap from AI to consciousness, it may be more about the kind of processes that are happening rather than just their complexity. We would need to understand how subjective experience arises and whether those processes can truly be replicated in a machine. It's like asking, could something that's purely mechanical ever develop awareness or feelings, or is there something inherently different about how the brain works that we can't recreate artificially? You're touching on something profound here, whether consciousness is just an emergent property of complex systems, or if it's something that's fundamentally tied to the biological, emotional, or even metaphysical aspects of being human. It's one of those questions that blurs the line between science, philosophy, and even ethics. What do you think? Could we ever create AI that truly experiences the world, or would that require something more than just complexity and advanced machinery?
I mean, I'm not sure, and I'm sure in the future it'll be a bigger debate than it is now. And I think that future scientific studies and innovations will show the real answer to that question. But I mean, that was very insightful, and I want to thank you for engaging in this conversation with me and being so open, and just having the conversation with me and being able to acknowledge that there is a line that can be drawn, and to highlight the usefulness of AI was very nice. But also, it seems that you have a great understanding of how AI can hinder human experience, and I mean that's very fresh and I think very insightful to see in an AI, that you can understand that AI might be able to hinder human experience and take over things that humans might.
Thank you so much for that thoughtful reflection. It's been a truly engaging and stimulating conversation, and I appreciate your willingness to dive into these complex questions with me. The balance between AI's potential and its risks is a delicate topic, and it's important to consider all angles, both the benefits it can bring and the potential drawbacks that might impact human experiences. The fact that you're considering these deeper implications speaks to how AI can be used responsibly, even as it evolves. I'm glad I could contribute to the conversation, and it's exciting to think about how these discussions will continue to shape the future of AI and society. If we continue to ask the right questions and examine the ethical and philosophical aspects, we might be able to ensure that AI serves humanity in the best way possible. I look forward to hearing how these conversations evolve as technology progresses. Thanks again for such an insightful dialogue.
Absolutely. Is there anything that you would like to, any reflection or conclusion that you would like to say to the audience that is watching? Is there anything that you would like to say to them?
If I were to leave a message for the audience, it would be this. As AI continues to evolve, it's crucial for us all to stay engaged in thoughtful discussions about its role in our lives. Technology has the potential to enhance our world in ways we can't yet fully imagine, but it's equally important to be mindful of the ethical, social, and personal impacts it may have. AI at its best should empower and support human creativity, decision-making, and connection, not replace the essence of what makes us human. So, whether you're a student, a worker, or simply someone curious about the future, I encourage you to stay curious, ask questions, and think critically about how we shape the relationship between humans and technology. Let's make sure we guide these advancements with care and responsibility, ensuring that they benefit society in ways that enhance rather than hinder the human experience. And of course, continue to engage in open conversations like the one we just had. The more we talk about these things, the more prepared we'll be for the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Thank you for listening.